Welcome back to another episode of New Cow Corner, guys. We appreciate you all being here. Today we have a special guest, as always. All of our guests are special. Everyone in this hobby is special. If you guys are part of this community and you're keeping animals and you're being a positive influence, you're all special, right? Everybody matters. Everybody's important. So today we have Nikki from Jumpy Jawbreakers. Let's give her a warm welcome here, and we're gonna talk about some geckos. Sorry for all you puppy and cat lovers. Tonight's not your night.
I love those two. I just got a puppy.
Me too, but we're not talking about them tonight. All right. So
And
for anybody that doesn't know you or doesn't follow you or know what you're doing, tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are, how you got into this, what you do, what you specialize in. Give us a breakdown of you.
I've been in the hobby for 7 years, but I was not big on social media for a long time. I'm not the craziest fan of social media, so I kind of rebelled against it for quite a while and realized I was just actively working against myself. So you kind of have to have social media in this hobby. I specialize in Dalmatians, but it was not the first that I bought, which I think would surprise a lot of people. It was actually a yellow and lavender harlequin was the first crested gecko that I bought. Which I still love lavender, but I only have one. I work more on clean color than I do the number of spots. But this year specifically, I did add some pairs for spots only. And that's the first year that I've ever done that. My kids got some leopard geckos, and it's been quite a while since we had reptiles. I grew up with iguanas. So I kind of started researching different reptiles that are in the hobby now, and I just fell in love with crested geckos. We saw one at a store. I thought, this is the cutest little animal. Bought that one. Then we went to an expo. We bought Persimmon, who I still have. She's not a Dalmatian either. She's a harlequin. And then I saw Dalmatians, and I was like, this is it. This is me and a gecko. I'm Italian. I've got moles, freckles. I've got white spots, red spots on my body. I was like, this is me as a gecko.
Cool.
And I don't think I'll ever give them up. They're just the most fun for me.
So when you got into the Dalmatians, did you know exactly what you wanted to do? Did you have like a color picked out? Did you have an idea? Did you have a vision in your head, or did you kind of just?
I had an idea. I wanted really vibrant red. I bought a couple. I wanted really vibrant red with black spots. I actually wound up getting a lot of animals with red spots. So that was not an intentional project, but I kept producing them. So I figured, okay, well, I'm going to add red spots to the program too. And that's really kicked off. So I have a lot of red spot geckos now, and
Nice.
like great grandbabies, I think, producing now or breeding this year. Yeah, but the color has always been hit me with a neon, a really clean hypo, anything. I just love the clean colors. Plus, I love the soft feel of soft scale and hypo animals versus the wild type scalation.
when you say hypo, are you in agreement that there's white base Dalmatians, or is that just very light hypo? I know it can be controversial, but like I will tell you, I think that they are so hypo that they are white, but really it's a yellow base animal.
So I always tell people that it is always going to come from a yellow or like a cream based animal. But as soon as you add in soft scale and hypo, it's the same exact thing, which I'm not sure why people don't grasp it a little bit. It's the same exact thing with pink. It's always going to
Yes.
be a red animal. It's always going to be red. A lavender is always going to be black, but you're manipulating the color until you get where it's not firing anything anymore. So you're wanting like the lightest version that you can get of a yellow or cream animal.
So, I think you nailed the definition right there. That made sense.
Okay, well, I'm glad.
That made a lot of sense. I try to explain that same thing because people don't think pink comes from reds. It's something separate, or lavenders are blacks, and it can be confusing, and that's what causes the
It
little.
There's
can.
hypo
It takes a lot of
versions.
money
The
chasing pale.
hypomelanistic, when a black pear has a hypomelanistic baby, it's lavender. When yellows do, they're pale. When reds do, they're pink. I guess I can see it easy because I made them all, accidentally, so it's kind of like there's no other possibility here. Like, that's quite obviously what it is. But I guess people are going to believe what they want anyway. I mean, and God bless them, unless they can figure it out. I mean, figure it out. If you can prove, those basics wrong, then you teach everybody something. I mean, I wouldn't suggest them wasting their whole careers doing it, but I mean, let them if it's
They
something
are
they want to
few
work
and
on.
far between. I think a lot of people who are labeling things pale are not. I've seen a lot of things fired that are just plain yellow, like a regular everyday yellow. Like, that's not what you're going for. Just like when you get a pink, you're really not looking for any difference between fired down and fired up. And I think I've seen people say that reds can be pale. Never would I say a red that fires down white is a pale gecko. That's a red. It just fires down white. Brown geckos can fire down white. I would never consider that pale either.
True, very true. So what are these? A lot of, I won't say a lot, but a lot of those hypo-ish yellow ones, in my experience, not a lot, but how they sometimes have like a lot of patterning, or I guess like diffused tiger, if you will. There's, some will have just like random spots on them that isn't, they're not Dalmatian spots, but that tiger or whatever gets broken up so much they look like little spots.
Yeah.
How are you cleaning all of that up? What are you doing to get rid of that? Is it just continually selectively breeding, or?
Just continually. I mean, hypo is a pattern, and it's like a pattern reducer. So the more that you're adding hypo in there, the more it knocks out any residual tiger that you have left. Because tiger's in, I think, everything. Literally, they said that tiger's in everything. But yeah, it's just stacking hypo. Just a lot of hypos. But the problem with that is when you stack hypo, you lose the spots. It's like you're fighting for the color, but it's also reducing melanin. So you're having a hard time building more spots.
Interesting.
It's a hard project.
There's so many theories with these Dalmatian things. I mean, I have lots of theories, I should say, but there is simple. I'm not trying to discredit anything anybody does with Dalmatians, because obviously it's impressive, what people have been doing with these. But did it ever cross your mind that there's different types of Dalmatian? Did you ever cross your mind that there's different, like, I mean, clearly we see like the oil spots, and there's a smaller spots, and there's different spots. But at one point I was working with them, and I was convinced that there was a gene difference. They were different genes. Like, this animal it's this kind of Dalmatian, and then there's this kind of Dalmatian, and then I can't really articulate what I'm trying to say, but there's clearly visually different styles of Dalmatians. Some animals,
different
not all
morphs.
animals can basically,
Like different
yes.
morphs of Dalmatians.
Basically, yes. Like a different style Dalmatian is in theory a different morph. Like an oil spot Dalmatian is its own thing. Red spot Dalmatian is its own gene. It's its own little thing. All the tiny little spots and cluster spots. Well, I guess that can kind of, yeah, it's an ambiguous one, but the different
I'm working
style
on
of
proving that
spots.
one.
Yeah.
The cluster spots.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple.
And I've had it's a very interesting gene again, because I've had animals with, I mean, so many spots they almost look black. They would give me babies with like it'd be
Almost
a joke,
nothing.
like someone swapped eggs or something, like no spots. And then some of the craziest animals I ever produced came from animals with, they wouldn't even be considered super dals, and would produce incredible babies. I mean, covered out of the egg. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I mean,
That's
what
why
observations have you made with stuff like that?
when I'm looking at the red spots, I do pick up a lot of ones who technically have bullseyes. I feel like they make the best red spot kids. I don't know why that is though. Because it is still, there's still black pigment in there, but for some reason the black doesn't seem to carry over as much.
Are you seeing the black spots change red, or they just bullseyes?
Not all the way, just the bullseyes, not all the way. But there are babies who are born like the spots look black and they change to red as an adult. I'm not sure why it presents that way when they're a baby, but
You're getting red spots on both your pale bases, your yellows and your reds?
pales, no. But I didn't intentionally add red into that. So I don't know. Yellows, I wound up having quite a few hatch with red spots just naturally. And I've heard that that's a really hard thing to build red spots on yellow, but I keep having ones hatch out with yellow
I
base
think
and red spots.
I think what they say by that is to get the amount of red spots that you would see on a red base on a yellow base is what's
Yeah.
hard. But I've seen plenty of yellow base geckos with red spots. They're just not as big or
Not
as
as seen.
prominent
Yeah.
as a red base. I
Yeah.
think that's where it gets.
Misconstrued a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after all your years of working with Dalmatians and the Dalmatian gene, what would you say your most valuable observation has been so far? Like, what is something that you've learned that has helped you progress your projects more than anything else?
So I do tell people this like privately, but I don't think I've ever talked about it on my page. I look at their stomach. A lot of times you can tell how much pattern is still within the animal if you see pattern on their stomach. Same for if it has a lot of spots on the stomach, I think it matters. Now that becomes really hard when you're buying something online, unless you have like a good person who's like, sure, I'll take a picture of their stomach. So those I generally pick in person. But there's some who they look pretty clean, but then when you flip them over, they've got a lot of brown pigment underneath. So to me, that's like, there's still quite a bit of tiger in there. So if I pair it to something that has any sort of pattern, I'm going to wind up having babies that I'm not necessarily happy with. So that one helps me a lot in pairings.
So when you
That's
see
cool.
on the belly a bunch of spots, it may not have a lot of spots
On the top.
on top.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you
Cool. It's a cool
found
observation. It's little
something like
things like
that.
that, I think, that help
That
people.
you found something like that, and the babies will come out with a lot of spots.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. That's a gem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cool thing, especially you talk about these DAOs. You know, so many people, I mean, we all work with them, so we all know that sometimes they don't hatch out with a spot and they will ultimately be some of the spottiest animals in our collection, you know. But
Yeah, you never know.
I think I see a lot of people get frustrated, you know. I mean, yes, and it does happen, you know, like we will have spotty animals that produce animals with very few spots, but sometimes I see people get frustrated, like the animal hatch with no spots, and it's like a day old, you know. It's like you
You gotta give
gotta
it time.
wait a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people in the hobby who are like, buy it young. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm not much of a gambler.
Dowels.
You know, I've bought ones that were young and they never progressed to anything other than what they looked like when I bought them. And to me, it's kind of a waste of money. So I prefer buying something older.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've experienced the opposite. I have
Really, we got
seen
great ones.
so I've seen both things happen.
Yeah.
I've seen right out the egg because the Dalmatians, when they come out the egg, I use the loop on them, and
Yeah.
you can see with the loop all the spots, but you can't see it,
Visually yet.
visually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can do that with red spots is
with
really
red
great to
spots,
look at.
yeah,
Yeah.
very very good to do it with red spots. But I've seen some hatch out the egg and they have a lot of spots, and I've seen some not have a lot of spots, but gain spots and get bigger spots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it.
I mean, you have
It's
to
a
know your
toss.
lines. So, like
That too.
Firefly's kids, her spots grow like crazy. Even if they're not a bunch of them, they get really big. But you also need an honest breeder who's going to tell you what
Sure.
they really think is going to happen, not just because they want to make a sale and this Dalmatian could be amazing as an adult. Like, most of the time, the breeder knows if it's going to wind up being a good one or not. And I don't like the gamble.
Do you feel lineage is very important when it comes to Dalmatians?
Yes and no. I feel like it's important because people ask for it and they want it. So if you don't have it, you could potentially be losing sales because you don't have it. As far as the animal itself, not really. I've seen a lot of amazing ones who don't have lineage. They all came from an island, guys. They came from the same like 10 animals that we brought over. Like there is lineage, we just don't know it. You know, it's not like, I don't know.
I
It
agree.
it matters and
The
it doesn't. You
yeah,
know,
the reason why, to just piggyback off what you were saying is, um, you have the lineage, and you see these two Dalmatians and they look beautiful, but that doesn't necessarily mean the baby you just bought is gonna grow up to have all of those same spots or
definitely not.
produce animals, because I've heard stories of that also, of people buy these great lineage animals and then they don't produce great Dalmatians. So,
Had them.
you know,
Yeah. A
and then
lot of
vice
the amazing
versa on
ones don't for some reason. A lot of the like super great Dalmatians do not outproduce themselves. I'm not sure why that is, but it seems you have better luck when you have maybe more mediocre or one really nice one to a regular looking Dalmatian for some reason. I don't know why. It's like when you get to this like super duper level, like they just don't really seem to outproduce themselves like you would think that they would.
it's interesting.
I think it's something to do with genes, but again, there's so much that's unknown. That's you know one of the most frustrating things with to me personally with the Dalmatians was all the things I couldn't wrap my head around. But it's exactly like that. If you took two crazy super dowels and put them together, the odds of you getting crazy super dowels are slim to none. They're not going to outproduce themselves. It's almost literally like the genes cancel each other out, and you're back to like a single copy of the Dalmatian gene in just one animal. Like it's, I mean, at least in my experience, you know, it's something with the gene or whatever, whether it is different types of genes that aren't compatible, different Dalmatian, different styles of genes that are crossing each other out or something. There's something going on that we're not seeing, because time and time again, I hear the same story. It's not just me that this happened to. I talk to people all the time that the same things happen to. You have two $1,200 animals, incredible super Dals. You put them together and you're getting animals that you would have been better off having no spots on, like it's
yeah. Or you only get one or two out of, the 12, 14 that were worth the pair or whatever.
Which could simply just be one parent passing one copy of that super gene on to the offspring. It's interesting, and I think there's so much that still needs to be learned and observed with this, and I just don't know that people are looking for that. It's like flying under the radar. The cause is just flying right and floating right under our noses of what's really happening.
Yeah, for some reason, a lot of people aren't interested in dolls. I don't know why. They're a lot more diverse than people give them credit for.
Sure.
Have you noticed in your pairings, certain pairings getting Dalmatians maybe on the left side only, and then very saturated on the left side, or only on the dorsal, and very little bit on the sides, on the laterals type? Have you noticed anything like that?
I do have some that wind up, having more spots on specific parts of the body, or for some reason have a lot of face spots and not a lot of body spots. I'm not sure if that's, I would assume is parent related, considering my parents, but and then Prometheus, the one that you have, for some reason passes on smiley faces to like 90% of the kids. I don't know why. That's a weird one. I don't know.
I have, from looking at just photos of Dalmatians and looking, and I start to notice, like, especially with the huge ink spots, like the cow, whatever you want to call them, how they're not really all over the gecko, but like they kind of like centralize from the head down the dorsal, and they're not really on the laterals type. And I was wondering, because sometimes I see the spots, how they may not be those dairy cow spots, but sometimes the spots are so close together, as they grow, they turn into bigger. So I was wondering, like, have you ever thought of that? How does that work? Is it that pattern or something in the gecko that's moving the spots like towards the door, or
it
to
could be
conjoin?
like the same with quad stripes, like pushing up the, it could be something genetic, of where spot placement is.
Interesting.
So is that all you have interest in working with as far as Crested Geckos? Do you have any other projects? I know you said you had those couple other animals, but are you just focus on Dals, or are you running other experiments, if you will?
I do have other pairs of stuff.
Oh, you do?
Just not like an extreme amount, but I do have other pairs. I have a sable. I actually, one of the first Dalmatians that I bought was a cap, and I had them before they blew up, but everybody told me they were not cap because they didn't look brown and like the typical stuff. So, fast forward like 2 years, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, that's cap." It's like, well, okay, thanks for that, everybody. Thank you for that. That was fun. And I had people, basically think I was stupid for thinking that these were cap, but I was right. So, the more like you think that everything, even people who are fantastic at genetics, and then how much has the hobby changed in 5 years? But so many of these things did not exist 5 years ago, or weren't intentionally being bred to exist. You just never know. Keep an open mind. I think, in the hobby because you just never know what's going to pop out.
So what's the end game look like? Like, what if you could make your perfect gecko? I'm assuming it would be a Dalmatian. If you could create the perfect gecko, what are you shooting for with every pairing? What are you trying to accomplish?
It's the color for me. I love a good orange in various hues of really clean, beautiful orange. I have one girl who is like hypo red, and I mean like super, super clean. I would want a million of her. She's stunning. I and I do have some this season who are going to be her color. I can tell they're developing. They're going to be like her. So super excited for that.
Cool. Very
So I
cool.
think I've made it. I think I've
There you
made
go. Good for you.
my
That's all.
gecko finally.
Do you focus on other things like, you know, other composition things? Do you focus or have any interest in creating certain type of head structure or tails or size? Is there anything like that that you focus on or you try to incorporate into your projects?
Yeah, I try to make sure that if I'm pairing one who's smaller, that I pair it to someone who's bigger, trying to level it out. It doesn't seem to work necessarily that way. You kind of get some who take after one parent and some who take after the other for some reason. It doesn't seem to splice the way that you wish all the time. But yeah, structure is something that I am going to be working on next season, like more so than I have any of the other seasons. This year, I have a lot of different Dalmatian projects, but this year I'm trying for as many spots as I can get, which is different than what I've normally done. And then, of course, I have a bunch for clean color and a lot for bullseyes. I would love extreme bullseyes. I think that would be amazing. Hard to capture in pictures because from afar they just look like black spots. So that one's a little hard to articulate out into social media, but when you have them in your hand, you can clearly see there's red in the black spot. I have Paradox Boy. I've got some cluster spots that I'll be trying to work on. I have been following Gecko Nerds project because his is pretty similar to mine as far as the
Which one is that?
stuff.
Which project?
The cluster spot stuff.
Oh.
He's got a lot of them popping out. I've had them from one girl. They all come from one specific girl. So assuming genetic based off of that it's coming from the same gecko regardless of who she's paired to. And
What
then
about other color? Sorry.
I was backing off of yellows for a while, but I wound up doing a collab with someone and wound up really loving the yellows that came out of it. So now I will have a bunch of yellows again. I have green. I have some olive stuff paired this season. I do have dark stuff. I think 2 pairs of darks. Yeah, that's 7th circle.
It's interesting. This coloration here. I've had them just do this too, these spots on yellows, and I could never recreate them. I could never do anything with them. I want to throw my hands in the air and quitting.
Yeah. His whole tail is basically spots like that too. Also has in it. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Like, please don't ever drop your tail. He probably will because it's always the ones that you don't want them to drop their tail.
Beautiful bark too.
Yeah, I do have some other non-Dalmatian stuff too. I just added some fish scale stuff, which I love. I have a pair of Halmaheras. I have a pair of Chihuahua. I
Nice.
have one morning gecko.
For now.
For now.
This
She's
guy right here, what do you call these? Is this an oil spot?
oil.
What do you call those big things?
Yeah, that's just
That's
oil.
interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, they're paired up right now. That's a collab with Country
That's a
Cresties. She
cool
owns
pair.
two. I know. He's got everything. He's like everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah. I mean, she is too, but he's just different. Something different about him.
I really love oil spots. There's something about them that I find, I don't know, really interesting. The
Cool. Again, but see how not
spots
every
on
animal
the,
has them. That's why I
yeah.
think again, it's another gene. It's something else. Something is doing that. Like it's clearly genetic, right? Because you can't just take animal. I mean, at least I never have. I've never taken animals, a pair that didn't have oil spots, and make animals that do. It's they either come you're coming from a line that have them, or you're not just going to produce them on an animal that a pair that doesn't have them. I guess. At least again, just that's my experience. I feel like they it's a gene some way or
Yeah.
somehow it's genetic.
Oh yeah, I have a phantom eye that
I was just going to ask you about that. I was looking at your page earlier, and I thought I was losing my mind because I've asked people and I never get a straight answer. Is there phantom eye in crested geckos? And
yes,
people are like,
there
I
is.
don't know. I've seen animals. I think so. But there was a picture on your page. My girlfriend and I were both scrolling your page because she loves the Dalmatians. So we were looking and I noticed that she wouldn't know what it is. So I didn't say nothing, but I'm like, damn, I got to ask about that. Is that like a phantom eye on that gecko right there? And it like,
Yeah.
and now
Yeah,
that I
I
know
have
that it is, that's
three
awesome.
who have one phantom eye.
I got to find that picture now.
The Phantom Eye?
You're outside. The picture I'm talking about, you have her outside in your hand. But her eye is super jet black in one of the jet black.
Fluff. Yeah, she's one of the
Yes,
ones.
that is its name.
Yeah.
Have you seen them before, Mark? You've seen Phantom Eyes on Crested Geckos?
Quincy
an
was showing
interesting
that a while ago, and Gecko
Yeah, see, he's
Diva.
got all the stuff that I am also working on, so I kind of watch his stuff. That one, that red one.
This thing?
No,
This
up,
baby?
up that one. His other eye is a phantom eye.
Oh, so you're getting single, like one individual eyes, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and I've had the two younger ones. I've had them their whole life. There was never an injury. There was never like anything to cause it.
So it's something that evolves, or are they born, like, do they hatch with it, or is it something like the Gargs where they got to progress?
I did not notice it at hatch. Um, but I have been looking a lot closer this season to make sure, see if I catch any, but I did not notice them at hatch, and I hold babies pretty often. Um, so I think that it develops a bit.
First, now I won't find this picture.
Yeah. The water one on the mirror, is that the one you're talking about?
I don't know. Might be. I was so focused on the eye that I can't even remember the rest of the picture.
The rest
There
of
was a
the photo.
couple of them.
You're like, why is the eye all black? Yeah, no, and people have asked, like, she reacts to light. She's not blind. None of them are in the eye. It's been tested. Like, it's just dark.
Guys, don't worry. We're clearly going to go back to a lot of these pictures. I'm just on a mission here looking for a specific picture. And she has that one that I'm looking for, has it in both eyes, right?
Nope, just the one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Quincy has some that are both. I have one hypo red that her eyes are like gunmetal color. So maybe she has it in both, but other than that, no, it's just these three with the one eye.
I feel like I'm getting close.
So we'll have to scroll through. Yeah, that's the goal. She's the one that has the gunmetal eyes. They're a color I haven't seen on any other gecko, really.
Right there. There it is. Found it.
Oh,
Look
okay.
at this, guys.
Yeah. That's Fluff.
And she just has one eye like that, and her other eye's normal?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How
Yeah.
old is she? Have you had her since a baby?
I have not. I bought her from a third party, and she's from Sivako. Sorry if I butchered that.
Do you know how old she is, though?
She's got to be at least 9 at this point, but I've had her since she was 5, I think. And she
So I
was
guess
like,
I was going to ask, like, if there's a chance it could pop up in the other eye, but at that age, probably wouldn't, right?
no.
It looks
That's
just like that
crazy.
monochrome.
Monochrome?
That Edgar has, that he says is monochrome with the black eyes, just like that.
They have
I
black
never even
eyes?
noticed his did.
I could never tell what monochrome was, if it was like a color or
Me neither.
a gene, or I don't know. Now this one's younger. She's a juvie. But the other eye looks almost like a lily white, like that really pale bluish color. So it's very, like when you look at her straight on, it's very noticeable. That one is very dark.
How do you like the Chihuahuas?
He's a stinker in his enclosure. He doesn't like coming out, but once he's
Really?
out, he's fine. Yeah,
I just had somebody drive down from New Hampshire or Massachusetts or somewhere today to buy one for me.
Ooh, nice.
The kid, she surprised her son. The woman was buying it for her son. They went to a buddy of mine, Chris, kid from Jungle House Reptiles or Jungle House something. I don't know what his handle is, but he was going to a reptile show and he was, he took some animals up for me and put them on the table, and this family came by and they fell in love with them. But they didn't have an enclosure set up, so she didn't want to, they didn't want to take them home. So she contacted me and let me know that she wanted to surprise her son, and they were going to buy it for him for a gift. So we had arranged for them to come down today to pick it up and meet me after work. And I guess she told her 2 sons were with her that they were going to buy a plant. They were coming to Connecticut to buy a plant. So I had the box in my hand because she told me she was bringing her son. So I'm like, clearly she told them, right? Like, clearly she told them what they were coming down to do. She didn't tell me. I thought that it was a surprise, but so I totally blew this whole thing up. So I walk outside. She was like, we got here early. No worries if you're not home. Don't worry about it. I was like, oh, I am home. I just didn't have my phone on me. I was waiting till 5:30. So I went outside and I had him in a little plastic box in my hand. The kid jumped out of the car like he knew all of a sudden what it was. He starts like yelling in the happiest of ways at his mom. You tricked me. You fooled me. You said we were going to get a plant. We were going to eat. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was like, that is why I do this. Like, he had a nice enclosure set up in home, 18 by 36-inch something, full bioactive enclosure ready to go. He had all his research done. It just, they're my favorite species out of the new cow. Sure.
Yeah, I reached out to LAC Herps to eventually get a female for him.
So you do have one. You have a pair now.
Well, I have a different female, but I just don't. I don't know. They're not bonded. They didn't do very well together. So I'm just gonna.
Who was the aggressor? You're a female?
No, he was.
Really?
And she would scream in there, so I had to yank him out of there. So
I've
not
only had it
everybody
happen
likes
once.
everybody.
Yeah, that's the truth. That is the truth. I had it happen one time, and it was the girl. She was like, she had her back arched like a cat. She was mouth open. She went crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But I took him out real quick. I was like, "You are not going to last, buddy."
Yeah.
Look at these. Wow. You have a hell of a collection, that's for sure.
Well, thank you.
Now, are you producing spots like this? Is this something you made here?
Yeah, that's a Prometheus kid. You see the little happy face on its tail? Yeah, smiley face on its tail.
And a lot of them are coming out with that, huh?
Yeah. I don't know why. So many of them.
So interesting. It's just how drastically different it is than other types of Dalmatian spots. Even the smaller ones, I don't know how to explain it, but still look different than a Dalmatian spot on another animal. Like,
Yeah,
that's
like
why I
how
kept
it's
getting thrown where
saturated.
it has to
Yeah.
be genetic. It has to be genetically a different type of Dalmatian.
That's my paradox guy right there with the leg. Oh, not that one. That one, yeah.
So that's what this is. I couldn't figure that out. This is Paradox.
Yeah.
This is
That's what everybody says.
interesting. Has it developed? Has it progressed as he's gotten older? Or?
Same placement. I found him on a table.
Really?
I paid, well, they had him for ridiculously cheap, and I gave the guy a more fair price because I'm just not about that. I get like everybody sells stuff for what they want to or whatever, but I just don't think he knew what he had on the table. And I don't think that's fair, so I gave him more money. But yeah,
That's
he's a
cool,
cool
dude. That's
guy.
awesome.
The only
He's a
person that I
unique
think
animal
that
all the way
has,
around.
yeah, like he has so much broken up tiger, and the only person I've seen who has that is like AC Reptiles. Has something similar where like all those broken spots like all over. That's not actually spots. It's just
That's what I was talking about before we started. See, that's exactly what I was talking about. Was that
yeah,
type of stuff.
yeah.
Very cool.
So I'm trying to decide what I want to do with him.
What do you do? Huh.
I don't know. I know. He's an interesting one.
You probably will not find anything like him. I don't know. What's your best bet of pairing him to something to start making them? I guess this is one of those things where you start making babies to rework with 5 years down the line. You gotta, huh?
She's a
Very
cool dude.
cool. Well, see, this looks like if I saw this as a baby, I'd say that's a keep.
Yeah. That one's on the holdback rack. It did drop its tail though, which was really sad. Like really sad. Yeah.
Just randomly, or did something cause it?
Just went in there and it was off, so I don't know.
Tagged up too. Here we go, some red spots. Well, so these don't have any black on it. Well, I guess I see a couple. No, right? Is there any black spots on? Yeah.
I don't remember if she has any. I have a couple who are
It's all
just
red.
yeah, almost like or very, very close to all red.
What do you think causes that? What do you think's making these spots red? Are they just red spots, or is it like, I mean, what's going on with this?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what shifts the pigment color. Um, I think personally that the red spots do better on an orange looking base for some reason, versus like the like red, but I'm not really sure what creates the pigment for them. But
What do
I
you
saw
think,
her
Mark? You
like
got red spot projects, right? What do you think causes this?
No clue.
Spots to be red as opposed to black. Nothing.
No clue.
No comment.
See, now that was a baby worth buying.
Well, you bought this. How? What do you mean, baby? How much is this? How small is this thing?
Oh, I think it was like 5-6 grams maybe when I
No
got it.
shit. That covered?
Yeah.
That's I'm trying to gauge the size. I see it's on a paper towel. I'm like, how that thing?
That's not a
Wow.
gamble. That's a sure thing.
Right?
So I do
Yeah.
still buy babies, but just very, very choosy.
Surprised someone sold it, if I'm being honest.
So when you see something like that, right? Obviously, you know it's gonna have spots when it gets older, but do you feel like the patterning is gonna fade, or does it,
Yeah, for this
or is it
one,
gonna stay?
yeah. No, I think that one will fade.
Because that's the thing. Also, a lot of I speak to a lot of people and they see babies and they have that pattern and they're like, oh, I want something pale, but the pattern does fade as they get older as well. Is that true, or do you feel that's true?
Yes and no. If it has like the tigering where it has that freckling kind of stuff at that age, I don't know. That personally doesn't really go away. If it's on a deeper level of the skin, yeah, sometimes that stuff fades. But if it's on surface level, I kind of,
Well, like if you look at the dorsal right here, you see the tigering going across the dorsal.
yeah.
So
But it's
you
not
feel
on the top layer of skin. Like that's underneath.
explain that.
So it's on, okay, just like oil spots are on a different level of their
Like
skin.
metaphors, right? What are they called? There's a name
Yeah,
for them, like the
it's not on
layers.
the top layer of their skin. It's underneath on a separate
I
layer.
read about it in the foundation genetic thing. They were
Yeah, but so that tigering would be considered on the bottom layer.
Yeah, underneath. Yeah.
hope he doesn't lose his tail or she.
I know. I know. Fingers crossed.
You got like different shades of oil spots.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a cool one. I got her from Noelle at Two Girls Geckos.
So you're working with Gargs too.
I do have a couple Gargs, trying to have black and whites. I feel like I get sniped out of everyone that I find. But yeah, I'm trying. And then I also want some orange blotches. I do have yellow stripes too. I love her, but she's so tiny.
How old is she? Is she still growing?
Oh yeah, still growing. She's only 30 something grams. I meant tiny as in like structure wise. She's a tiny structure gecko.
I think it's at least something fixable. She has a lot of things that you can't just make up. That stuff you could fix.
Yeah.
Are these babies you produced? You produced this one here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they're damn near hatching with red spots.
Some of them do. Some of them hatch with a couple of red spots out the gate, which is nice because then you know those are going to be ink if they hatch with them. But
Are you getting? I mean, this may be an obvious question, but are you putting red spot geckos with red spot geckos, or would you pair something that had red spots to something that doesn't have red spots?
I don't really pair anything that doesn't have
Should
any
put red spots to red spots.
Yeah, but I'll do like red and black together. But no, I don't really put like a red spot gecko just to a black spot gecko.
I've always wondered if there was like, again, like whatever's making them red.
Mm-hmm.
If, say, it was a gene or something, and then you put it to an animal like a super Dow that had crazy black spots, would whatever gene there, could it possibly transfer over and make the babies have more red spots? But I never got that far.
No, maybe. I have red spots paired to bullseyes this year to see how that produces.
Say that again. What was your question?
His question?
My question? If you put animals with just red spots to animals with just black spots. I have often wondered if it was a gene that makes the red spots red was inheritable. If you took the animal with red spots and say it wasn't a crazy super Dow with red spots, but it had whatever gene was making the spots red, if that was inheritable, would the babies that it had with the crazy super Dow, would that gene possibly transfer to the offspring and make crazy red spotted super Dows?
I don't know about crazy red spotted, but you'd get some that have red spots for sure.
Like some of these, like these big crazy oil spot ones you have. Like you don't, maybe there are, but I haven't seen anything like this, for example, that were red spots. I mean, do they have them?
Well, I think Fringe is getting up there. But I think it's harder to build bigger red spots. For some reason, it seems like it's taking a lot more seasons than it has to get big black spots. So I don't know. Generally, if you get red ink, it's like a couple of them. It's not like the whole gecko. So just keep working at it, just like everything else. Generation after generation, get better and better.
Sure.
That boy is at Country Krusty's right now. He's on loan for Whiskey on Ice.
Whiskey on Ice.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Hey. Country Krusty's got Whiskey on Ice?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, Country Krusty's.
I know. She's my favorite.
I got King of Hearts.
Okay.
Whiskey on Ice got away from me too fast.
No.
They jumped on it. I tried.
We just got eggs. She wrote me this morning. We just got first set of eggs. Yeah. So fingers crossed for crazy portholes.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I love unique spots.
Sorry.
That one was a collab baby with Hit the Spot, but that one is going to be her. That's the one that she chose to keep.
Got you.
He's a cutie. And I do have a tiger project.
Have you seen any you see how this one has the orange spot? Have you seen any with a bunch of orange spots?
Was it Nature Nut? She has one that has that like a more of it, I think. And I'm not sure why that presents in tigers, why it's the orange.
I had one that it started out as red spots, but as it became adult, it's like it lost the red, so it looked orange,
Oh,
and it would
it's like
fire up and you see this color, like grayish looking color.
yeah,
That's why I asked, because it was like the same color.
it's like woven into her color. Like if you see her in person, it's a lot more than just that um one or two spots that you see. Like it's underneath and more on her back and stuff. Like you can see it on her scales, but
Nice pair.
So would you call that a pale and a yellow? Both yellow?
he's orange.
He's the left one is
He's just not
orange.
tired. He's orange. He's like a peach color.
Have you?
So
Is this an actual pair? Have you put oranges to yellows?
yeah, yeah. Well,
What do
apparently
you?
orange isn't a base color, so it either comes from red or yellow. So you compare an orange to either one, really. Yeah, my pear duck's gone.
You never thought about that being like that shatter stuff or that WG marbling stuff that they're talking about?
Uh, I don't
Have you
know.
compared them?
I've seen that stuff, but it really does look like the stuff that AC has, which he says is like C2 Phantom Tiger. Um, I don't know.
It's interesting.
Yep, she's on the whole back rack too. Her spots are growing.
Nice one. How long do you normally keep them before you'll offer them up for sale? Like, do you go by an age or a weight? How do you determine
More
what's
like a
going and
weight.
what's staying?
I used to sell them a lot younger. I don't want to anymore. I'd rather sell it like sub-adult level. Not that I won't sell a juvie or something, but I'd prefer to keep it longer. I think, especially if you're doing shows or something, I just feel really uncomfortable selling babies. I have no idea what kind of environment they're going into. I want to give them their best chance at thriving, and selling small babies just is really not the greatest, I think, for a customer base, but show wise. You know, if a breeder, it's different if it's a breeder and they know what they're doing. But someone who's buying a pet, I prefer it's an older, well established gecko.
What when you're working with dowels and the spots are so variable, I guess. What how do you determine your prices or the value of a gecko that you're making available? Like, what are some things you would grade your animals by?
I think everybody wants spot quantity. I prefer color since that's what I'm going for. The cleaner the color. Um, It's kind of subjective. Like when you're talking about like high value animals or high quality animals, it's really kind of just what you're going for goal wise. I prefer the clean color. So for me, it's putting in the work to get the really clean color. Um, so I would put a higher price on a cleaner color. I do have that one, yeah, that one red spot lily. She's paired to a red spot. He's like peach. I'm just curious to see if I can get really, really spotty red spot lilies. That's an interesting project. It's one pair, so we'll see how it goes. They've had, I think, one clutch hatch, and I did get a lily white. So, or I got both were lily white actually. One was yellow and one was red.
What is this? Is this an axanthic? What is this?
Yeah, Phantom
It is.
Azanthic. I do have some stuff, some Azanthic stuff that'll get paired next season.
It's a cool looking gecko.
Yeah, he's cool. That's snail's pace.
Are you doing Axanthic Dalmatians?
No. I thought about it, but it seems there's a problem with Dalmatians when it comes to Azanthics. For some reason, the spots disappear as they age. I'm not sure exactly why the melanin doesn't stay properly. So I think that would be just a really, really long haul project that would take a lot of seasons to stack stuff.
Really? Is that what you heard, or is that what you've seen?
Seen.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Completely disappear as it gets older?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, that's
Not
news
all
to
of
me.
the spots, but yeah, a lot of them wind up disappearing. I'm not sure why that is. See what I mean? Where I was like, oh, please don't drop your tail.
Yeah, yeah.
That whole bottom portion of it is cluster spot. He's a cool guy.
Very cool.
That bottom girl, she went to the Netherlands.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that process work? Do you have to have like a third party involved to ship out of the country?
Yeah. It didn't go great.
Just gonna have pain in the butt, or is it worth it?
One of the geckos got lost in transit at the airport, so it just was not a pleasant experience. But I've exported before, and everything previously was fine.
Never found it, never showed up.
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah. He just sold actually at the show. He went to a family who bought a gecko from me before. They were looking for a red.
Love this color. This is have a group of these, well, a couple pairs, but I love this.
Me too. I love a good neon. It stinks when you can't see all the red spots because sometimes they get lost in there, but the color's so pretty. That's Firefly.
So you said you were doing some you are doing some breeder loans. We had talked about this on one other episode, and I'm curious to hear your opinions on it. What what's the right way to go about a breeding loan? With everything that could go wrong, and even when everything could go right, splitting up babies, and what advice do you have to someone that has maybe just thought about doing breeder loans and has heard conflicting stories, the good, the bad, what advice would you have to give someone that wanted to go about a seamlessly smooth, successful breeding loan or transaction, whatever it's called? What advice would you give someone?
I think make sure the person that you're considering is actually trustworthy before, not just because they have animals you like, but because they genuinely are a good person, because you are going to trust somebody with your animal or they're going to trust you. So I think it's really important. Make sure you pick good people, because things can go wrong. You can wind up having hurt feelings. You can wind up having 0 eggs and the pair doesn't work. You can wind up having prolapses, and who's going to pay for that? And, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's really important that you talk about those things up front. I think make sure if it's a male, I would ask how that person handles prolapses or if they've ever had one before. I think a lot of people panic really bad. I just talk it out. I think just everything you can think of, talk it out beforehand.
Do you draw up a contract or anything like that? I think the person, I can't really remember who we were talking to, but they had suggested drawing up like a written contract for all those things, prolapses, eggs, divvying up the hatchlings, first picks, all that type of stuff. Do you do anything like that on paper, or is it just a good?
No, I mean, we just talk it out, and then it's just, I mean, it is written out, I guess, in our messages, but there's not a contract. The likelihood that you're going to enforce that.
So how do you go about divvying up like babies? How do you, and I mean, obviously you don't have to mention the person's name you're doing breeding loans with, but what do you guys, how do you divvy up the babies?
Generally, the person who houses the geckos gets first pick because they put in the work. They're the one feeding and doing everything and hatching out the eggs and feeding those. So yeah, generally the person who houses gets first pick. As far as if you're divvying up everybody, that's kind of up to the person. Some people just want to keep 1 or 2 and then they want to sell everything else. Some people want half of the babies and they want to sell it themselves or whatever. That's fine. That's just something you need to talk out with the person, what are you looking to get out of the pair? Are you looking for breeders? Are you looking to make money because you think they're going to produce really nice animals? Those are things that you should probably really talk
That's
out
a valid point. I never thought about that.
before.
What's the goal? There should be a goal to begin with, right? Like, what's the goal? Making
Yeah,
animals that we want to work with, or we just think we got something cool here and we can make some money? Makes a big difference.
it does. Yeah. So some of mine are, well, basically all of them were for because I want breeders on my side. But that doesn't mean that even within the 2 of us that we both have the same intentions. That person could want their 4 animals to make money, and I could want breeders out of it. So it really, really depends. Just talk it out. Just and stay in communication with the person. I think that's crazy when someone has your animal and you haven't heard from them for 3 months or something, and just
Someone's got all your animals, they could say something like, "Give me, let me know they're alive," or
Right. Yeah.
something.
Yeah. That's why I said the trust aspect, matters. Pick somebody who's going to send you updates and be like, they're fine. Here they are in the enclosure. Or I separated them here, or, someone who lets you know when they lay eggs and, or when the
Who
baby.
normally ships, the male or the female? What? I've never done a breeding loan, so I really don't know. But do you normally ship the male to the person with the female, or do you normally ship the female to the person with the male, or does it not even matter?
Generally, they say that you want to ship the female because if you ship the male, people could use the male for more than what you're agreeing to.
Yeah, but either way, if you want to be deceitful, you could, I could tell you ship me your female and it only laid 2 eggs. Sorry. And I
Exactly.
keep the other 10 eggs, so it doesn't make a.
And that's happened where people have been like, "Oh no, we didn't get eggs," and they really did. Or
Yeah, I've heard a lot of drama over the years in the hobby with people in this, and I'd never done it or never had any interest, so I never paid much attention to it. But as time goes on, we have more guests and people talk about it. I start paying attention to it more, and I'm like, and I really have a lot of BS over the years over breeding loans. Who didn't say they had eggs, or who said they never got the male, or the female died, or something, some crazy crap happened, and come to find out it was all a lie.
Yeah.
So and so sees the male that was allegedly dead for sale on someone's page. Like,
People are kind of crappy sometimes. Yeah. So I said you really gotta make sure
really
that
do.
somebody that you trust. And I don't know that I would do it as a new person in the hobby, only because you don't know anybody long enough to know if they're trustworthy or not.
It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. That is it's the truth.
I mean, but you've had great experiences doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I also had a prolapse with one of the boys. It took 5-6 days for it to go back in. I think on the 6th day, I had a vet appointment to take him in if it didn't go back. Shout out to Tara because I keep KY in my emergency kit and it helps. So that was a piece of advice that she had put out there. I know they say normally the honey and the warm water and stuff, and that helps too for inflammation. But you just never know what's going to happen. You really don't. So just prepare for the worst.
Sure. For sure.
So the KY helped you slip it back in
Yeah, he got it back in on his own. But yeah.
on his own.
Yeah.
I mean, they could still breed after that, right? If yeah, I've heard people say they've had one removed and were still able to function.
Yeah. I know there's people who say there's a lot of people who say if they had a prolapse during that one season, they wouldn't breed them again that particular season, which I understand. I think a lot of prolapses are a hydration issue or humidity issue in your enclosure to begin with, but I probably would not breed one that had it during one specific season trying to do it again. Like that would just be it for me. Let him recover for the season. But
do you use lay boxes? How we didn't talk about your setups, if you don't mind. How are you housing your animals? How do you keep your pairs? Do you keep them together all the time? Walk us through your the daily life in your gecko room, if you will. Like, how are you housing?
I have a very diverse amount of enclosures depending on the gecko's personality and how much space they seem to use. So if they're like a ground dweller, I don't give them a massive tank because they're never up at the top. Now I do have animals who are all over the place and they have the 20-gallon longs, and they're put upright with I Heart Gecko doors. So they have a lot of vertical space. I think those are 33, 35 inches tall or something like that. And then I have 20 gallons and 10 gallons. I have 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterras. I've got Costco's. Then the babies are in shoe boxes that like click together from Amazon. That I have a video of how I set up the baby bins. Yeah.
Do you keep your breeders together year round? Do you keep them together for a full season?
I don't. No, I'll keep them together maybe up to like 2 weeks. If I haven't heard or seen them lock. And then after that, if I don't get eggs, then I just kind of wait and repair for a few days. But no, I don't have any that stay together year round.
And are you using the lay boxes again, or are you using the substrate in those enclosures? How are you?
No, I have lay boxes filled with sphagnum moss. Yeah. I don't particularly like digging in the dirt. So sphagnum moss for me.
So everything's on paper towel?
No, not everything. Some of the, not all of the adults, but some of them are, I have a mix of soil and the large like coconut chips and sphagnum moss at the bottom. And I have leaf litter like magnolia leaves. So it really depends on who it is.
That's cool. That's super observant that you pay attention. You don't just run a system, but you will house animals due to their individual personalities. That's awesome.
I do. Cool. I have some who love to hide, so they have multiple hides in there. I have some who just sleep on the ground, like almost all the time. So that's what their enclosure is tailored for. So generally I'll wait and kind of get a feel for what the gecko likes like in there before I build the actual tank and glue, wood in there and stuff.
So what are you doing for feeding and supplementation?
I'm on the Pangea like breeder program. I buy the liquid calcium. In the fall, I buy a bunch of figs and I keep them in my freezer to add to the fig and insect. My colony actually hated it.
Really?
I know. They really hated it until I would add like 2 figs into the actual mix.
They hated the Pangea?
Yeah.
But mine won't touch the breeder mix. Won't touch it.
No, not the breeder mix. It's the fig and insect. They wouldn't touch it, which is generally the favorite. So I don't know why mine wouldn't touch it initially. But yeah, after adding figs in, they'll touch it. Mine hate bananas. They won't eat anything with banana in it.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, everybody's colony is different, I guess. Blueberries, sure. They won't eat anything with blueberries in it either. I don't know why.
Right. Do you feed bugs? Do you feed live bugs at all?
Yeah, I do. I order mine. They're subscribed from Bug HQ, which is local to me.
Really? How do they do that? Just monthly? They just send crickets or?
Yeah, twice a month. It's like auto subscribed.
That's cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I guess I could technically do it on Amazon, but I don't. Bug HQ. I'm going to check that out.
Where are you located, Nikki?
He's a really nice guy. His name's Adam.
You're in Florida, right? Where are you?
North Carolina.
I thought you were in Florida. I don't know why I thought you were in Florida.
I would have met you already if I was in Florida.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Oh, that's why I'm thinking Bug HQ. I'm like, where the hell is that at? I've never heard of that
I'm
out
like, I've
here.
never heard of that. What? Yeah, no, it's the North Carolina company.
So North Carolina, do you get cold? You get cold over there, right?
Yeah,
Snow
kind
and
of.
stuff, or not really?
Snow is, I don't know. Some years we get it, some years we don't.
I go to I go to Charlotte, and one year I went to Charlotte. It was freaking snow on the ground. I was surprised as hell. So that's why
Yeah.
I ask.
It is nice when it snows because we don't get it a whole lot. So it's a fun thing instead of ugh, it's snowing again. You know, if you live in
Yeah.
a cold cold place. Everybody's excited when it snows. But everything shuts down because they don't have trucks, they
They're
don't
not
have
ready
salt.
for it,
Yeah.
right? And it
Yeah.
shuts down for the lightest amount of snow. It's like
Which is
everybody's like,
crazy.
"Oh my god!"
Yeah. I grew up in in Indiana, so we had I've lived through a blizzard, so, like a literal blizzard. So the fact that an inch of snow closes the town is kind of ridiculous to me. When we're standing outside and like hip height snow for the bus and stuff, like growing up. But yeah, it's very humid here.
Do you so like being talking about temperature, it probably obviously gets a little cooler in the wintertime. Do you do any extra cooling on your animals? Do your animals completely shut down in the wintertime?
No, they don't. I
They
mean, I
don't,
have a
right?
space heater that I keep just in case if I need it. Um, no, the house
You
stays
don't
pretty warm.
intentionally cool them. Like some people I've spoken to will intentionally cool their animals in the wintertime to, I guess, shut
I
them
mean, it's
down from breeding.
naturally a little bit cooler in the house, just
Yeah.
as is. But intentionally, not really. I only do
I
that
don't
if a
either. I
female
don't.
keeps laying and like won't stop to the point of it's detrimental to her, then I'll cool her specifically, but the room itself not really. The house is just cooler in the winter anyways. So
How
no
about your
reason to.
eggs? Do you keep them in a set temperature, or you let it fluctuate?
No, they're just in the room. I have been trying to keep them cooler this year. We moved to a different house. The room upstairs was a lot warmer, I think, than everything else. So I had stuff hatching sooner than what I would prefer. So I did move my eggs to like a closet that is cooler. But other than that, no, they just stay in the house. I don't have an incubator or anything. Mainly because I have a fear because people have lost their whole seasons of eggs in incubators, and that makes me really nervous.
Yeah, they're I mean, I've never bought a crazy expensive one, but I have not had good success with these regular incubators. I've had the hovabators, I've had the little refrigerator ones. One way or another, they always shit the bed on me. And now I mean, I always when I started this, I just used my room, and now that's where I'm back to all these years later. I've just put them in the room. You know, find a
Yeah.
spot in that room that's the temperature you want,
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Just trying to get because I had stuff hatching like 78 days, which is
Well,
just
I've had
too
them hatch
soon
faster than that.
for me.
I've had them in the summertime hatch in 45, 50 days.
Whoa, that's crazy. And the structure and everything is not any different than.
I, I I have my theories about it. I don't think the structure is at all determined. I think the overall size is because they obviously hatch faster. When they hatch, there's more yolk left in the egg. When they're cooler, they incubate longer. The animals come out longer, but naturally they're in the egg longer. More of the yolk is absorbed, so they're bigger. But as far as structure, I've had animals hatch in, you know, 55 days with giant heads. And I've had animals go damn near 120 days and
Still
barely have
small.
a crest on them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so I don't know enough for me to say either or, but I'm pretty sure that when it comes to crest structure, that's someone believing something, I can't prove it. I've tried to recreate it and I cannot,
Yeah.
but overall size, absolutely. They're much smaller when they hatch that fast. And again, to me at least, obvious reasons, less time in the egg, just less time hooked up to the yolk. They're not absorbing it all, and they hatch. I don't know why they don't stay in longer. I mean, the developmental stages are still the same. You'd think they'd still be the same. They still have to go through these phases of development before they hatch out of the egg. Their egg teeth are developed enough to slice out. It's an interesting thing. And again, we're talking about a species that arguably lay year round. There's no scientific proof that shows us they don't lay year round in New Caledonia. So if that's the case, then naturally eggs would be incubating at different temperatures throughout the year. An egg laid in September in New Caledonia is going to hatch at a completely different rate in temperature than one that was laid in June in New Caledonia. 2 different seasons, 2 different temperatures. It's so I don't know. There's a lot I think that needs to be done, but I've done studies. I've taken clutch eggs and separated them, incubated them at 2 different temperatures, and again, nothing conclusive. I had, swatch clutches. One will hatch with a great head, one won't, but it wouldn't be the temperature. The one in the warmer would have the bigger head out of the 2. So I've ultimately concluded through my limited research that it's genetic. It's the parents. The parents are going to dictate what the crest structure looks like regardless, and again, you can have clutch mates that hatch out and one has a gray head and one doesn't, and they can both be incubated at 60 degrees for 100 days. One has a good head, one doesn't,
Yeah. Did you see
it's
any difference in the genders? I know some
that I
people.
didn't know that, but I also would be lying if I said I paid attention. I did not. So I was really focused on body structure and crest structure. I didn't do the gender thing, which this year I have a couple eggs set aside, which I want to see. I don't have enough yet, and none of them have hatched, but I'm little by little as I get them, I'm separating the eggs and making my notes, and I will keep tabs this year on that. But I've talked to people that have at least claimed to have done years of research with, sex, temping their offspring, and they claim it's been inconclusive. So, but I got to see for myself regardless. I just want to see, not that I'm trying to prove them wrong or anything like that, or I'm not listening to them. I just want to see myself.
I think that's great. I think everybody should be trying to study
Sure.
what we're doing, learn more,
Sure.
add more to the hobby. Yeah, I think it's great. I wouldn't just trust one source.
Yeah, that's absolutely. We all live in different microclimates ourselves, so there's just so many other factors that, again, not that I'm trying to disprove anybody anything. I just want to see myself. I like the
Yeah.
crest thing, like I don't want to call them arguments, but I've gotten into debates with people over this before, and it's like, this is why I did the mini projects, the research, because I don't want to argue with anybody, but I know what I did and I know the results I got. So feel free to do your own experiments or agree with whoever you want to for whatever reason you want to. But I did the projects, I did the studies, and I cannot tell you for sure that incubating them in a warmer temperature is going to make their head smaller, because that's not true. That is not true. The biggest head in my collection is one of to this day is an animal that I obviously I hatched and I have. His head is stupid big. He looks unproportional. It's crazy big, which his mother had a big head. But he incubated in one of those eggs. That was one of those geckos I was talking about, 50, 55, 60 days. And in his, he was small, but his head, I mean, obviously their crests fold down when they come out of the egg. Their crests are folded to the side of their head. But after his first shed, it was no denying that temperature had nothing to do with the size of his head.
Well, that's cool.
And that's just one example. I've done many of them, and with the same results. So again, like I said, I what I say means nothing, but I ultimately boil it down to the genetics of the parents. The head structure usually favors one of the parents, despite the temperature.
Yeah, I definitely have clutch mates where you can tell one took after one parent and one took after the other. They look completely different.
Absolutely.
Do you think the dorsal has anything to do with the head structure?
I do find it really interesting. A lot of them, their like spikes will end like right after their head, versus some have the pinning like all the way down. I wonder if that affects anything also.
I was more like the width of the neck dorsal, if you're seeing that has anything to do with the head structure.
Not always. I've seen some that have really wide dorsals and still don't have great structure. So I don't really know.
I've never really paid attention. I've definitely noticed it's the different. I've seen different placings of, like I've seen the crests carry down farther on some animals and some others. Some that have narrower dorsals or necks, for argument's sake, their pins kind of kick in sooner than other animals. They'll go down the back a little farther before they turn into the pins, and it gives them the appearance of having a wider neck. But I wonder if that's just a scalation thing.
So do you consider a wide dorsal good structure and a skinny dorsal bad structure, or it doesn't matter?
I mean, I guess that depends on what the rest of the gecko looks like. I prefer a wide dorsal. I just like the look of it better, but I mean, I've seen ones that have good heads and then also have like the pinching, where like at the neck it's like kind of ruffled because their back is just smaller. So I don't know. I mean, that might just be a taste type thing. Although I guess maybe Tikis could say with their gold standard stuff has to have a wide dorsal.
Oh, I like how you threw that out there. Shout out Tiki's Geckos Gold Standard Club. Make sure you guys join. She threw that one in there. You must have paid her, David. You must have paid her, David.
I was just talking to him about it. I was actually the other day. I was talking. He's gonna before their next show. He's gonna come on the podcast and we'll do a little highlight, I guess, if you will. I mean, I've talked about it before. I come from a pretty lengthy dog background. I love a very specific type of dog, and that dog has a very old history, and composition with those dogs is a big part of those dogs and what they are. And I don't bash them. I think that again, with this, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, and I guess, captive animals or whatever, we're in the infancy of reptile keeping as far as domesticated animals, right? And all these other animals and dogs and things, horses, stuff that, we normally think of when we think of, composition competitions and contests. They've been around for thousands of years, some of them, right? Like certain horse species, Arabians, can be chased back to, the Middle East for a couple thousand years. They've been working on a look and, size and everything else that goes along with it. So I get it. I respect him for trying to do it. I would get on board myself if, someone could, collectively come up with what the standard should be, right? The problem with that is it's very subjective, right? Like in this stage in the reptile hobby, what you consider great quality, I may simply not. I just may not like that. Who's and that's where the problem lies. Is who's to determine that? Who's to determine that the animal's head should be flopping off, the crest should be flopping off the head? I personally don't like that. I don't like a flopping crest. So it's being that it's so subjective, I think that's where he's going to have his biggest issue, but in general, I think that it's a brilliant idea. I think that, just holding people to a higher standard of breeding, holding people accountable, and then in return, giving them recognition for their hard work, I think is brilliant. I love it. I love it. And I support him for doing it.
Yeah.
But,
It
I
is
just think,
really subjective. I mean, you look at the
yeah.
wild types and they don't look anything
Exactly my point is it's who's
what
to
we have.
say that
So,
this is the standard when that's the farthest thing from what they are in the wild,
yeah. Yeah.
It's dogs you can't really do that with, because I mean, what's the wild type? A wolf, so I mean, what do you
Yeah.
do? It's a little different. You're comparing it to something a dog was bred for. Dogs are bred with a purpose to achieve a goal, a task, if you will. So with that came the breed's standard, and it makes it a little easier for them when we're talking about pets that aren't necessarily, I mean, we're all breeding for our own individual style and taste, if you will, right? So it's that's the only thing I see being a problem for him, really, is how subjective look of an animal can be. But I think it's brilliant. Have you ever put any animals in any of the gold standard shows?
No. Has he done them at more? I thought he just did them at Flora Fauna.
Well, he's done them at other shows. I'm pretty sure he's done them in. I don't know if he's done them in the Carolinas though. I know he did one in Florida, right? What's that big show you got down there, Mark?
Daytona.
Daytona. He's done it. He did it at Daytona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he did it at Daytona. He did it at Flora Fauna. I think he's done it in a few places.
It'll be there again this year, Daytona, if you want to enter, which you should.
He's letting
enter.
people send them in now too. For DAOs, you definitely should.
And you can send them in, and it doesn't have to be something that you produced. You just have to label who produced it. So
really,
no, that's cool.
He's broadening the horizons. So you should really think about sending one in, Nikki. All right.
That's how he'll win, making it a little more inclusive for people that, I think that's how he'll get the following. That
you're just shipping it to him?
Probably him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll
reach out to him. We'll
find out more information. Yeah, if anybody does have any questions, reach out to David. You could message him on his Gold Standard Gecko Club IG, or believe it or not, guys, he's super responsive. Shoot him a message on his Tiki's account, man. If you're not, excuse my language, being a complete asshole or rude, David's a cool dude, man. He will talk to you. He'll talk to you. He'll answer your questions. He'll help you out. The kid has been nothing but helpful for me, man. And plenty of times years ago where he didn't have to be, and I mean, he's one of those people that has a big name that's genuinely in it for the hobby. I can personally vouch for that it's not all about personal gains. The kid wants to see the hobby grow. He wants to see people do well. He wants to see people succeed. He doesn't judge. He won't tell you how to do anything. He's a very unique individual when it comes to, that type of following. He doesn't use his name or platform to rule like a dictator. He's very cool.
That's good. I only met him briefly at Daytona, actually. He was at my dinner table, but he was all the way on the other side. So him and Manny are at the other side.
Cool. It's just, again, like I said, so many people in the hobby, and, the beauty of this is these animals are like art, and we all get to do what we want. They're our own personal canvases to do what we choose to, and some people, I feel, and I'm not going to name any names by any means. It's not what we're here to do. But some people feel that their way is the only way. And if you're not doing it how I'm doing it, you're just not doing it right. That's not the case. Again, that's not the case. And David's one of those people that absolutely agrees and believes there's more than one way to skin a cat. Just because I've been doing this for 25 years and I incubate my eggs this way doesn't mean because you don't, you're wrong. That's
the
cold hard truth about it. There's multiple ways to accomplish the same goal, to achieve the same task. It's Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't talked about? I feel like it's just been going on. If there's anything you want to bring up before we're going on 2 hours, anything you want to talk about or mention, or projects you're working on that you want people to know about, or shows coming up that you want to talk about, anything that you want to talk about?
I finally got into Repticon.
There you go. Congratulations.
I was on the wait list for a very long time.
When's your first show? We'll put that in the
Well,
show notes too.
I just had it. And then I'll be there in August.
August Repticon.
When I first wanted to start vending, I was already in for a while, but I got off the wait list. It was the day before. I didn't even have deli cups, nothing, so I had to turn it down. If I had known how hard it would have been to get back in, I would have scoured for deli cups and put like 5 animals on my table just to get my foot in the door, because it is very hard to break into that. I have Mid-Atlantic in Greenville in July. I'll also be at Repticon in November too. So just one of the goals for this
And
year.
where are those? Those are all in the Carolinas?
Yeah, Raleigh and Greenville.
So do you travel anywhere out of there to go to shows? Do you vend shows anywhere else?
No.
Do you have any ambitions to?
Yeah, I might do South Carolina. I like Myrtle Beach. I like Charleston too, so I might do that. I don't think I'll ever.
What's the one? Bob Vu, right? Isn't his show in North Carolina? The big one that everybody's been talking about that is real nice.
All American.
They skipped North Carolina this year. I'm not sure why.
Wasn't that where like their first show was?
Yeah,
that's why I thought
it wasn't here this time.
Huh. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that show.
Yeah. We'll see if it winds up coming back. I was hoping that Flora Fauna was going to be in North Carolina this year, but I don't think it's there isn't one this year. So hopefully next year, because I'll definitely vend Flora Fauna if it's in North Carolina.
I was hoping that was a rumor.
I don't think I'll ever vend down in Florida, but I am still heavily considering coming down for Daytona. But that's more social networking.
That's a huge part of being in a community, going down and seeing your friends, supporting them, being at the show, showing face. That's huge. How far of a ride is that for you? Or would you fly?
This time I would drive because I would be picking up tanks from someone. I envy people in Florida because you can get used tanks like everywhere. North Carolina is not really like that. Hard to find exos.
You get the good price from
check on, like,
Family
Marketplace?
Reptiles.
Yeah.
Really?
I have checked out Marketplace. There's just not, it's not as crazy as Florida. Like Florida has so many reptile keepers just per capita that they're all over Marketplace, but here not so much. And I really want the old exos. I don't really want the new ones. I prefer the 2-door, so I'll be shifting around the reptile room. We're in the process of moving everything downstairs, and I'll be building like custom shelves and stuff. So that'll be a process this year.
Nice.
Yeah. I just got isopods. This will be my 3rd time trying to do isopods.
Breeding them?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the plan with that? To sell them? To like offer them for sale?
Yeah. I like some of the species. I had tried to get into it before. I wound up, I think there was a roach like had eggs or something in the soil that I had before, and it just decimated them. And then I just had powder oranges, and I had put like a hatchling that didn't make it in there. And then apparently like they're not one of the kinds that eat decaying like animals, I guess. So I wound up messing that up. I don't know. I just don't know enough about them. So now I have somebody who is like very closely helping me make sure that I make them thrive, because there's definitely like carnivorous ones and then non-carnivorous ones. So I'll be trying.
That's cool. It's exciting.
Third time's the charm. I think if it doesn't work out this time, I'm giving up on isopod.
So stay tuned, guys.
Yeah. I'm trying to add fish scale geckos in. I have one, and then I did find someone to buy more from. I just like them. They're super interesting. Not very
Definitely
common.
cool.
The Halmaheras too. Not very common, but I really like them. They're so soft, and I don't know, I like them. I just bought a tokay.
There you go.
I'll be taming that.
Yeah, someone will be getting tamed. You were the gecko. Someone's gonna get tamed.
I'm prepared. I know I'm gonna get tagged. It's okay. I'm prepared. But
They're beautiful. They're naturally, they're. You'd be hard pressed to find a more beautiful gecko. They're gorgeous animals.
yeah, and just the normal type of it is
Their
super
size, their
pretty.
their communication. They're awesome. The community aspect of them. They're a very, very cool gecko.
Yeah. I have been getting back into art this year. I took a break for a while, the custom art for the business.
Nice.
Doing a massive order for stickers and magnets this year for the shows. My daughter does a lot of the artwork for the business,
cool.
all of it, but a lot of it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do the kids help you with the geckos, feeding them and take care of them and everything?
No.
No.
I wish they did sometimes, but no, not really. They used to, but they're kind of over it. I don't know. Not they do come in.
Try.
And then Hannah brings her ball python for people to like touch and hold and stuff. It's
That's
amazing
cool.
how many people are crazy afraid of ball. He's a really pretty one, so I think people who are even afraid will still touch him. So thankfully,
There you go. Diffusing one fear at a time. That's awesome.
yeah, we let well, every once in a while we'll bring out one of our show geckos and let people touch them too. And since I have like the hypos and soft scales, they're a lot softer, just the wild type, and people are surprised like how different they feel than what they thought in their mind. Just like snakes, people are like, oh, I thought it would be slimy. Why would you think? I don't. Okay, but they're not wet. They're not slimy. Tokay's got me with that one though. The guy that does Daytona, who brings like his really tame Tokay that you can like pet and stuff, so much softer than I anticipated. They're a very soft gecko.
Was that
There's not much
Bledsoe?
bad you can say about them other than their feisty personality, which I think is cool. But
So what, you got a
you got
baby?
anything?
Wait, what?
You got a baby Tokay?
Yeah, it's like a juvie. It's a male. It just was
That's
really
nice.
pretty. So, and I've been wanting one. I really would love a pied. There was one like 2 years ago on Morph Market, and I kind of kicked myself for not buying it because they have not come around anymore, really. I haven't seen any for
they're
sale.
around. They're around. They're around. They're
But I
around.
love pieds. They look really interesting.
The problem with the pieds is you're gonna get an adult. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
I know. I know. Which is probably not going to be so nice. Yeah.
It'll be more fun for you to practice with.
I got a lychee recently too, but she's very sweet. So I got lucky there.
But these are all animals that you're getting as pets, or you have future aspirations to breed them or form projects around them.
I will not breed that. The lychee, we'll see. Their breeding is a little rough, so I don't know if I'll go that route. But for now, she's a pet. Just a very pretty pet. But potentially a breeder down the road. We'll see.
What type of lychee is it?
She's a pink new Anna, I think. But a lot of people have said she looks like she's lavender and not pink. So I don't really know.
I found out about that like last year. I had a purple one. It was labeled purple, and I'm looking at it like I don't see. And then one day it fired, and I'm like, okay, I see the purple. I see the purple. Like it's a purple bar or something like that.
I mean, I could see where people would think that she's purple. I really love the flakes, the like red flakes, but apparently I love everything that's really expensive. It's like 15,000 for the gecko that I want. Yeah, I don't.
Was that the raspberry? The raspberry ones?
Yeah, it's like fire flakes, I think is what it's called. But yeah, it's just, I'm like, oh man, you're so expensive. Very pretty, but very expensive.
I said the same thing. I said, "Ooh, I'll admire it from the photos.
Yeah.
I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not going to breed it, like that's a very expensive pet. Yeah.
So, but the fish scale geckos you're planning on working with and breeding them.
I am going to play. Yeah, I am going to try to do that. Not on any big scale, but yeah, just 2 or 3 pairs, I think. We'll see how it goes. They're so cute. I love the ones that aren't crazy popular, I guess. I was so sad. I bought that black and white Garg. And like 2 months later, the black and whites blew up everywhere before I could get like breeders and stuff. And now they're so hard to find. Like,
Yeah.
Definitely got popular overnight.
yeah, it went really fast. And I'm like, well, thank goodness I bought her before the boom of it.
Yep.
You just never know. Everything cycles. I guess they used to be popular and then they went out of fashion and now they're really popular again. So
that's how it is.
Seems like everything that was popular, it always comes back around.
yeah, Tiger's having like a crazy huge resurgence right now. And that was kind of, everybody kind of stepped away from that for quite a while. Wendelin's got amazing ones. Brian's got really nice stuff.
Yeah, they never gave up, you know. They enjoyed them. They continued to work with them.
I think
the hobby seemingly gave up.
Yeah, people are so visual. They need to see that like amazing animal that like when someone hits the goal and then they fall in love with it, but that's like someone's years of hard work going into that. But yeah, Wendellin's got amazing ones. Brian too.
You have any announcements, Mark? Anything you want to talk about? Anything we haven't discussed? Where's the best way if people want to? After I learned the whole thing we talked about earlier about the Instagram, but if someone wants to buy animals from you or reach out to you, what's the best way that people can get a hold of you or check out animals you may have available? Morph Market and where tell us how
Well,
people
it
can.
was Instagram, but I guess now
don't be scared now.
Stuff's not going to be private now. We'll be moving that to Morph Market and Palm Street. Yeah, I definitely don't want to risk getting my account shut down. Yeah,
All right, guys. So if you want to check out animals that Nikki has available, or even ask her questions, inquire about animals she may have, or future pairings or something, you can reach her on Instagram or check the animals out on Morph Market. But it's safe to say the best way, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, just shoot you a message on Instagram and take it from there, pretty much.
Yep.
And I just took notes. We have the show. In the show notes, I'll put the shows that she's going to be at, the Repticon in August, the Mid-Atlantic you are doing, for sure, and then Repticon again in November. All right, so if you guys are in the Carolina area and you're going to go to any of those shows, stop by, check her out, show her some love, and grab some of these amazing animals she's producing, guys. And if you're not following her and you live under a bridge and you haven't checked her page out, go look at some of these amazing animals. These things are insanely beautiful Dalmatians. And, let's support another fellow gecko hobbyist breeder. Let's spread the love, if you will, folks. We appreciate you coming here. We appreciate you giving us your time and stopping in and talking with us. You have a beautiful collection. Love what you're doing. Obviously I feel like you have a very bright future. You don't need me to tell you that. I'm excited to see what some of these things you got going on this year. I'd love to see what you do.
Me too. I am excited for things to hatch this season.
It's exciting. It's good. Good that you're still happy. After all these years, you still find joy in it. That's awesome.
Yeah, there was a bit there where I had like a dip where I feel like it ebbs and flows sometimes, but
you're human. That happens.
Super excited for this season.
Good. That's awesome. This is the one. This is it. This is the season.
I don't know about this is the one. I mean, I've had seasons where I've had great stuff, but this one's I'm real excited for.
greater stuff. Stuff.
Yeah, just culmination of a lot of stuff. Like I said, these are great grandbabies and stuff that are breeding now. So it's just line of stuff that you're like, fingers crossed, hopefully you finally hit like that mega thing that you've been working towards. So we'll see.
Wish you luck. I mean, I guess it all boils down to it at the end of the day, right? You're going through so much.
Yeah. A lot of luck. Picking the right animals, yeah.
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. If you're not already subscribed to the New Cow Corner YouTube channel, guys, there's so many awesome interviews over there. Head over, check out some of the interviews. This episode will be up in a couple weeks. There's probably close to 100 episodes up there now with amazing breeders, some names that you guys all know, and some people you may have never heard of before. It doesn't mean they're not doing great things and they don't have great animals and they don't make amazing observations that contribute to the things we do every day. I guarantee you, in every episode, you will find something that will help you improve something you do. Just listening to your fellow breeders. These are people that love these things as much as you do, guys. Go check them out. Listen to some of the episodes and leave some comments. Let us know what you think. Reach out to the guest on the show, though. They're usually very responsive and will answer your questions. And check them out, man. Show them some love. All right, guys. Again, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay true to yourselves. Work with what you love, and above all, stay weird, guys. Peace. How do I end this? Stop.